Welcome to day 5, the day you've been waiting for. It's time to shade our ZenTen with Jacki Rose of Zentangle. Day 5. Okay, so we have done a crescent moon variation, Shattuck and Patena. And now we're going to start to shade. And in my classes, we do a tortillon toast before we shade. And when I count to 3, you'll just hold up your tortillon or your Q-tip, whatever you've got today, and you will say tortillon. 1, 2, 3. Tortillon. Thank you. You'll put that down, keep it handy, pick up your pencil, and as you pick up your pencil, let's take a nice deep breath in and out. Get nice and comfortable in your chair. Let's take a moment and really look at what you've done. Appreciate what we've done. All these beautiful tangles. And let's first shade since we did that first. And I will zoom in. And we're very lightly, we're going to use the side of our pencil, and in the middle here, we'll just kind of trace along that circle and maybe even color that in and just give it a little graphite, just going in a circular motion very lightly. And then you pick up your tortillon and blend that in. Maybe going in different directions. And then when you've blended that in, pull it out a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot. We're still staying in that center area, but just push it out. Nice and relaxed. We're just focusing on what we're doing. We're letting everything else go. Nothing matters except the time that we're spending together at this moment. Cool. The other, okay, so that's what we're going to do. I might come back to this, but we'll see. Let's move on to crescent moon. So for crescent moon, notice these little columns, if you will. These little, see where they all connect? These all look like different sections. Yours might not look like this, and that's okay. But if it does, you want to take your pencil very lightly, just kind of go right down the middle of where they connect. Right on that little column. And just do that with all of them. Paying attention to how the graphite hits the paper. Right down the middle, nothing's exact. Don't worry about it, don't think about it. You can go over a little bit on one side, that's okay. And then when you've done that, you pick up your tortillon and you just blend it in, favoring one side, going down the middle. And notice how some of it might just lean over to one side. Not worrying about too much about that. If it goes over to both sides, that's perfectly fine too. And I'm just going over the pencil now, circular motion, up and back, down, back and forth, whatever feels right. Just blending that, breathing, relaxing, enjoying watching how it transforms what I'm looking at as I do that, as I blend. Now with this camera, sometimes you can't see the shading as much, so it looks a lot darker on mine, but you know, that's okay. And also the sketchbook, it's not the Zentangle Fabriano cotton paper, but it's just, I'm just using a regular sketchbook with just regular, so the shading doesn't shade as well, but it still does shade nicely. So it's just something to think about. The other shading that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to pick one of these auras. I think the first section of these ladybugs top aura, I'm going to give it a little, actually, yeah, I'm going to give it a little bit of, I'm just coloring right in there. And what I'm doing is just putting some graphite in, and then I'm going to blend it in with the tortillon. So I don't have to color it in solid, just putting some graphite in that section, kind of scribbling it in, not worrying about, and then I smooth it out. With the tortillon. Now, there's more than one way to shade. So if there's another way that your inner artist, your intuition is telling you, pay attention and do it. Do it, do it. The right way to do Zentangle is listening and following your own desires, not doing what the teacher is doing and not thinking about it, just doing what feels good. All right, so now we're going to shade Shattuck. And what we're going to do is we're going to go, let's see, I'm going to go right inside. So what I'm doing is I'm going right next to these outer lines that is shaping this section. So just on both sides, just a little bit, almost framing it, putting some shading down, putting some graphite down, and then blending it in, staying along those edges. And I'm going to do that over here as well, same exact thing, just staying right on either side. In my picture, mine, it looks like, kind of looks like cones. Like, remember those snacks? What were they called? They were like cones. I forget what they were called, but I really liked them a lot. Now, I've done this pattern a million times, and I've never said they look like cones. So yours probably don't look like cones. They probably look different. It all depends on how big we make them. So I'm going to do the same thing here, right along either side. And you can always use what's left on your tortillon instead of putting more graphite down. Remembering to turn your sketchbook, your tile. I'm going to do the same thing, right? And sometimes I'll use the pencil mark that's already there from our string. Now, if you notice here, I wasn't thinking and I just did this top part because my intuition just went there, and that's okay. It's all good. So now I'm just putting the graphite down for the rest of them, and then I'll go back and blend them all in. So make sure you're slowing down a little bit. We usually go a little bit faster with the shading because it's typically, at the end of the class and we've gotten our meditation in. But today, this is day 5. So we really want to still feel relaxed and meditative. And here I'm going to take what's left with that pencil, from that pencil line from the string, and I'm blending that in, pushing it in that section. And I'm also going to take my pencil and go right along that line. Just focusing on what you're doing. If anybody's thinking like, oh, I wish she would teach this a little bit differently, or, you know, if you're starting to think, if judgment is coming in, let it go. Because meditation and relaxation is all about acceptance of what we're doing. Like you might be thinking, oh, I don't like how this looks at all. But you know what? I promise you, you will like it later on today or tomorrow or next week. So you have to let go of the outcome. No judgment, acceptance, no expectations of anybody, including ourselves. And just accept where we are today. And I know most of you are feeling really great right now because you've just been dying to do this shading. And oh my goodness, I think it's after 10 minutes, but that's okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shade patina. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to shade all along the perimeter. Again, if you feel like shading it differently, you are free to do that. This is your art. This is your meditation. This is your mind. This is your art piece, your time, your creativity. So right now I'm just using my tortillon and I'm using the lines that are already there from the string, but I am going to add some more graphite. I wanted to blend that in first because when we start light, we can always add more. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. I'm going to turn my sketchbook and bring some in right in here. And maybe along here, just a little bit. I'm just adding very lightly, all three sides of my patina. Now all of these patterns names you can Google. If you just put in the names like patina and then add tangle pattern after it or Zentangle, you'll get lots of different images that come up, maybe some videos, maybe some step outs. A step out is step by step showing you how to do it, do a pattern. So that's why I like to give the names. And I think I'm going to do one more thing. I had mentioned this in the beginning. There was one other thing I wanted to do with and I'm going to do the same exact thing I just did with patina and just kind of give it an aura shading along the perimeter of that shape. So we've gone way over our 10 minutes, but I'm sure nobody cares. And if you did, then you could go and watch this later. All right. So let's take another deep breath in and out. We are done with this. So you want to sign your artwork someplace, anywhere you want. I use my initials. I don't always, but sometimes I use the bottom right corner. You can put it on a pattern if you want to. You can use the first initial of your name, your whole name. It's just sign it any way you would like to sign it. And one last thing I'd like you to do is turn it around in different directions and notice how different it looks when you, because it's non-representational, there's no right side up in Zentangle, so turn it around and see how different it looks from all different angles. Appreciate what you've done today, and you've made it through week 1, and I look forward to seeing you next week, and where we start week 2 on Monday. Thanks for being here, and have a wonderful, relaxing, and joyful day.